Hi, sorry I'm a few minutes late. Okay, only 5 minutes late. That's not too bad. How is everybody doing? I am uploading one more file. Sorry I'm a bit late. Uh, I'm okay, good. I'm broadcasting. Shoot, hold on. Microphone. Can you hear me? Can you hear me now? What about now? Are we good? Can we see each other? Can we hear each other? Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining. Sorry again that I'm late. I'm a little bit too nice. I think I wasted a little time because a friend of mine, an old friend of mine, hi Boston, an old sounds good. Okay, cool. An old friend of mine. I look exhausted. I'm getting ready to move in a few weeks. So, and also, I don't know if you can even see behind me, but if we're going to be live streaming the next few weeks, it's going to be very messy back there. So, a friend of mine messaged me on Instagram, and apparently, this is very common, and it doesn't even happen to people that have followings. Hi, Jason. I'm so happy you're here from Texas. Jason from Texas. And oh, we have two Jasons. Jason Rasmussen. I am going back to Los Angeles. I know I'm a crazy person. I'm going back into the belly of the beast. The reason I'm going back, I don't know how long I'll be there, but I left unexpected. I mean, I left very quickly. I still have a lot of personal belongings there. My boyfriend is still there. So I have a lot of unfinished business. But what I'm excited to do, at least when I'm there, is to probably do a lot of citizen journalism. So I'm really excited to get into that and to show you what's going on the ground of LA. So I'm going to use that as a positive, and we'll see how it is. I'm super duper anxious, and I haven't been sleeping. Like, I have knots in my stomach. And some of that is because I report on all of the horrible things that happen in Los Angeles. So I'm like, anyway, so there it is. But I'm excited to take the channel to new heights. I'm excited to explore different things. I'm excited to have fast internet again. That would be nice. So expect a lot more content, a lot of different content, and I'm very, very excited. What I was going to tell you though, the reason I'm too nice, this is what I meant to say. So I had an old friend message me, haven't talked to this person in a few years, and they messaged me on Instagram telling me that there was a bot account that was pretending to be me and that sent them a friend request. And I was trying to message this person back to say, "Oh, thank you very much for sending me this information. I appreciate that. That's definitely not me. I will report it." Well, when I sent the message, for some reason, it just didn't go through. I think it's a problem on his end. But I sent a message to him and there was like a red X that didn't go through. And then it was like he was I guess he saw that I opened it and was a little annoyed that I didn't respond, or he made a comment like, "You didn't respond." And instead of me just letting it go, I was trying to be nice and I kept trying to send him messages saying, "No, I saw it. I did respond. It's just not going through for some reason." So I'm wasting time that I could have been preparing for you guys. And I'm like, Sarah, you got to let stuff like that go. Like, sometimes you just got to let it go. Yeah, I'm going undercover in LA. That's what we're doing. Uh, oh, darn. Wait. There is something I wanted to show you before we get started. Let me see if I can find it. I don't know. Okay. Oh, I can't find it. You know what? I'm going to show you on my phone. I'll show you on my phone. We'll go. Thank you guys. But yeah, that I was a little bit late, but I need to learn to let things go sometimes. A little bit. Well, you can be toxically too nice. I wanted, before we get started on anything, Holly Weird, I'm going right there. Before we get started on anything, I thought you guys would get a huge kick out of this. So you know how in the UK they have these the stop oil groups? Those are the groups, I call them the noodle people. Name your AI after Eva. I should. Oh, she's outside. She might actually storm in and say hello any minute. She knows how to open doors. You know the Stop Oil people? They're those really annoying, like noodly people that protest. They're the ones that like threw paint on the Mona Lisa. They're the ones that sit in the middle of the road and essentially like just piss off every day, people that are trying to go to work or the hospital or whatever. Well, a new group has emerged. Oh, it's Just Stop Oil. Those are the protesters. So it's the Just Stop Oil people. Well, a new group of protesters has emerged, and I respect this. They are called the Just Stop Pissing People Off protesters, and they counter protest to the Just Stop Oil people. Yes, they cause traffic jams. I sent you a t-shirt sent to Imperium 7. I hope they notified you of it. Oh, they didn't. But you know what? I'm really glad you did that. I'm really glad you sent them something. They dropped me. Yeah, I'm not with them anymore. Maybe, you know what? I will email my old agent and ask if she received that. But if you ever want to send me anything, just you can email. My email is very easy. It's sarah@sarahsansoni.com, and I'll give you where you can send it. They're narcissists. They don't. I know. I'm so sorry you sent them something. I hope they would have sent it back to you, or they should have notified me that you sent it to them. Do you know when did you send it? And thank you for sending that. I am no longer with them. And to be honest, I'm really glad, especially with all the actor strikes right now. I am so glad I am not in that world anymore. Okay, okay. Okay, so these counter protesters emerged, and what they do is they just peacefully protest around these people and stop them from stopping traffic. And I have a video of them. It's really funny. Okay, here they are. You want to see? I'm going to have to do it. It didn't upload. Oh, hold on, hold on. Okay, you can't really see. Okay, but the people standing up and holding hands, those are the Just Stop Pissing People Off protesters. The people sitting down are the Just Stop Oil protesters. And essentially what they're doing is they're protesting to stop them from stopping traffic. I saw a video the other day of a guy that was trying to get to his dad's funeral, and they blocked him, and a man who got in an accident, and he had his pregnant girlfriend or wife in the car. So, yeah, they're annoying. No one likes them. Yes, protest the protesters. Exactly. Fight them at their own game. Okay. So, thank you everyone for joining. Let's get started. All right. First of all, oh, it's a t shirt with a photo of Johnny Cash and Elvis Presley standing together mid 1950s. Cash and the King. Oh, that sounds so cool. Thank you, Jason. I'm going to reach out to my agent and ask if she got anything. Yeah, we parted ways probably, I don't even know how long ago. I'm not sure. But to be honest with you, oh, well, I do. I just didn't upload this video. I have other videos here for you that I can share more properly. That sounds so cool, Jason. I'm really sad. I'll email her and see if she got that. I'm kind of sad that they wouldn't let me know that they received that. But then again, you know what? They have assistants and they have things, so they might not. I don't know. I'm sure they get all kinds of crazy stuff. You know what's really sad? Was it Kevin Conroy? Kevin Conroy, the Batman? He passed away recently. He was with Imperium 7, but I got to sit in the audition room with him once. Legendary voice actor, Batman. And I believe he played the Joker as well. Oh, can I tell the story of how I got my first agent? Well, my first agent I actually got in Denver, Colorado. That was a smaller agent. And my agent in Los Angeles, I got very lucky. I had a friend that knew a friend. Okay, so well, my boyfriend at the time, we're no longer together. He was in First of all, my love is voiceover. Obviously, you can tell I have a unique voice, so I have a little bit of a leg up just because of my voice alone. It's just different. So I stand out a little bit more. And I had just moved to LA. I was planning on finding an agent or looking for one. I loved voice acting. I studied it in Denver. I wrote and made my demo in Denver with at a recording studio there. So I made my demo and moved to Los Angeles, and it was just luck. It's the preparation meets opportunity. That was what happened. So I had all my stuff prepared, and my boyfriend at the time was in he did business, some other stuff. And yeah, I did cartoon stuff. My boyfriend at the time was into like the business world, and he met a friend somewhere, and this guy wanted my boyfriend's help with some advice on some marketing advice or something. And he was just asking, why are you in LA, and who are you here with? And he was telling him all about me. Well, come to find, his friend was the original founder of Imperium 7. And he goes, "Oh my gosh, she does voice acting. That's crazy. Does she have a demo? Why don't you send it to me?" My friend he founded Imperium 7. So my boyfriend sent the demo over, and I'm thinking like, oh, it's some dumb agency. Who cares? Nothing's gonna happen. So my boyfriend sent him my demo. They listened to it. He listened to it. He liked it. He sent it to the agency. They liked it. They called me in for a meeting. I met with like 3 people there, and they liked me after the meeting. It was really intimidating because it was just me and 3 people, and they were just grilling me with questions. So they liked me after that, but then they wanted me to come in and audition. And this was so scary. So I didn't know what to expect. They gave me no information. They just gave me a time, and they said, show up. So I show up at their office, and I talked to the reception. It's like the receptionist, but he's also the booth director. He gives me a stack of papers like this thick, and they're all like scripts. It's like commercial scripts, video game scripts, animation scripts, all different voices, all different scenarios, all different stuff. And they gave me no time to prepare, and I basically had to go into the recording studio, work with a voice director, and just kind of show them what I had. And I did that. They got a hold of me like 2 days later and told me that they would love to sign me. So that's how I got my agent. I was with them for a few years. I had a great time, auditioned for a lot of stuff, just didn't work out. And that's okay. It happens a lot in Hollywood. And now that I'm looking at this strike and everything, it's a really tough industry. It's an exploitative industry. And, when they're getting my MP3, they're getting thousands of other MP3s of different voices. Not to mention, you're going against celebrities that have names like other things. So it's a tough biz. But yeah, my voice, whose voice would be? Also, you guys have to understand, I made my first YouTube video my first YouTube video talking about right wing talking points while I was still heavily auditioning for Disney, DreamWorks, Nickelodeon, Nick Jr., Disney Jr., Cartoon Network, all that stuff. So did that have to do with them letting me go? Possibly. But you know what? It's not my business. I'm not even going to go down that road. I'm just a happy gal. So it all worked out in the end. Sarah, I heard that some stage actors reached a tentative deal today to not strike. Maybe I'll have to look into that. But that's how I got my agent. Yeah, and that's the same thing too. And if I can disclose something a little personal, one of the last things that I auditioned for was a classic character, and they made her into a feminist. So it's stuff that I don't even know if I want to do anyway. And also, like, I can't keep this shut. I can't muzzle myself. I have very unpopular ideas for that town, and I just can't be quiet. And I love the fact that I can talk to you guys. I can do what I want. I can say what I want, and I'm not muzzled. I've never felt more free. And I'll be totally transparent. When they first dropped me, I was devastated. I didn't tell anyone for like 6 months. I was absolutely devastated because it was one of those things where I knew when I posted my first video what I had to be willing to let go. But it was also like I couldn't break up with them. They had to break up with me. And then, like, finally, when they broke up with me, it made it a reality. And I just had to let go of that dream of working for a big studio. I just had to let that go. And now with this strike, what it's showing me is, yeah, these studios are extremely exploitative to their lower level talent. So it wasn't a bad thing, not at all. And I'll act again for sure, but it'll just be on my terms, on different terms. That's all. So it all works out in the end. Uh, Daniel says it's a blessing in disguise. You're going to be huge, being your honest self. I totally agree. I think the best way to be is just your honest and true self. And I think when you do that, it's very scary. You're kind of going out on a limb. You might lose things in the short term, but I think in the long term, you have your dignity. And I do think that other opportunities present themselves. And sometimes I think it's God's way of saying, Sarah, I know that's what you thought you wanted. It's just not for you right now. I have something better for you. Not going to tell you what that is right now, but I have something better for you. I always think so. And I have to tell you, like, not being in that world and not being that on that audition circuit, it made me feel like I had shackles on me because I had to be available all the time. I couldn't have a normal job. I couldn't enjoy California the way that I wanted to because I was so busy and I was just at their beck and call because I would get a notice that I was auditioning the next, like, they would email me at 5:30 p.m. on a Wednesday and I would have to be there at so and so time, like at 12:30 p.m. the next day. So that's the amount of turnaround that I had to prepare for, sometimes like 8 pages of script, of dialogue. So you're kind of just like a slave to the audition process and you don't get to have a life. And I now I have a life, I guess. At least you avoided Weinstein and Baldwin, for sure. For sure. Almost anything would be better than selling your soul. Absolutely. You know what? And it's been, the past few years have just been an incredible journey and I'm really thankful for it. And I really appreciate you guys too, because you give me strength too. And yeah. Jordan and the Lion tried acting, got a few parts, started his own YouTube channel, and now has about 3K subscribers. He took the advice of his friend Shelly Winters, who he met. Yeah, I get it. And I did a bunch of stuff. It's not that I didn't work. I worked a lot, not on anything huge, but I worked a lot. I had a great time. I don't regret it. But starting my own thing and being empowered has just made me feel so free. And I have a guys, I have a lot of friends that are in those picket lines right now. And let me tell you what, I would not trade places with them for I'm so glad I'm not them. They are in those picket lines and absolutely not. Freebird. Okay, let's get started. How about we talk about one of my favorite, Eric Adams. So New York City is out of room. All right, we'll get into it. Okay. So, Honey Badger, I'm here. What did I miss? We're just spitballing. Not too much. Okay, let's get into it now. I really want to talk about New York City and Eric Adams. Okay. So, New York City is closed for business. Eric Adams said, "We are overflowed with migrants. We can't take anymore." Here is a clip of my favorite mayor, Eric Adams. And believe me, he will go down in history. For what? I don't know.
And that full capacity.
All right, let's watch it. By the way, Eric Adams, just some background. Eric Adams himself declared New York City a sanctuary city. Okay? And he refuses. They've taken, I think, almost 90,000, almost 100,000 migrants have gone through New York City. They're set up in luxury hotels. Hold on. I have a brilliant tweet by Nick Sorter. Give me 1 second. New York, the city that never sleeps because you have to. I really like that. I've never heard that before. New York, the city that never sleeps because you have to keep your eyes open. Well, especially now more than ever. Man, he tweets a lot. Okay, here we go. I'm going to read you his tweet, then we're going to watch this video of Eric Adams. No. Okay. All right. So this is Nick Sorter. He is a journalist. He's an independent journalist. I actually discovered him with the East Palestine. He was on the he was one of the only people and one of the first people on the ground at East Palestine. Hi, Braxton. I know you. Okay. Just in. Democrat NYC Mayor Adams on illegal immigrants coming to the city. Our cup has basically runneth over. We have no more room in the city. We need help. New migrants are now living in either gyms or police stations on the floor after the city ran out of money for 4-star hotels. Yeah, the Row Hotel, I think it's Hell's Kitchen, close to Times Square, totally filled with migrants. This comes just one day after NYC announced it will start distributing flyers at the U.S.-Mexico border telling newly arrived illegals to consider another city. NYC now wants to force Texas to pay and house all the illegals crossing the border, even though the mayor and his party vocally oppose sealing the southern border. NYC, a city that refers to themselves as a sanctuary city, says they've burned over $1 billion in housing over 90,000 illegals over the past couple of years. Should NYC be required to fund illegal migrants given their push for open borders? Here's the thing. Eric Adams, who you're looking at right now, he will not call out Joe Biden. He will not call to close the border. And he blames everything on Abbott. Abbott's been trying to close the border. Abbott's been trying to stop this. And Texas is not a sanctuary state. There aren't sanctuary cities within Texas. They did not vote for this. But Eric Adams just refuses to admit what the root of the problem is. Oh, Biden. All right, here he is.
We stated several months ago that we have reached full capacity. And that full capacity was verbalized, and now New York is just going to be visually actualized. We're going to see how much of our cup has basically runneth over. We have no more room in the city, and we need help.
Yeah. Except he's barking up the wrong tree. And I believe this is what those flyers look like. So let me pull it up on my phone so I can read it to you, because it's a little bit small, that one. I can't really read it. But yeah, they're passing these flyers out. They're passing these flyers out all around the border. So it basically says, since April 2022, more than 90,000 migrants have come to New York City. There is no guarantee we will be able to provide shelter and services to new arrivals. Housing in NYC is very expensive. The cost of food, transportation, and other necessities in NYC is the highest in the United States. Please consider another city as you make your decision about where to settle. Duh, Eric. Duh. Why you would call yourself a sanctuary city? why you think you can take care of that many migrants in the first place, why you wouldn't be pro border security is bonkers. Okay? And I hope, honestly, I hope Greg Abbott sends more. I hope he sends a lot more because I hope these people have to live in the reality of their idiotic policy. He did not think that the border was going to be this open. He didn't think this was actually going to happen. Hi, zombie. So yeah, it's not looking good for New York City. And I actually on TikTok I follow this guy. All he does is go around the migrant hotel. Actually, if you want, here, let me see if I can pull it up. But we're just gonna have to be like low technology version right here. But if you just want a sample of what it looks like outside of these hotels, I apologize. I should have thought about this earlier. Oh, hold on. This will just give you a sample of the reality outside of these hotels. All right. TikTok. That's the first thing that came up.
The city. And now the city. No, New York. Keep that same energy. Don't take your cape off now. You didn't care when they was pouring across the border. Build sanctuary city like you said you was gonna do. Democrats always backing out in line. Keep that same energy and keep them there. Keep them there.
We have no.
Y'all, I had no idea that was going to pop up. I had no idea that video was going to pop up. I did not intend for that to pop up. See, TikTok isn't all bad. That is not what I intended to get. Hold on. Oh my. I have no idea who that is, by the way. Okay, stop.
In the city.
And now the
Oh gosh. I don't know what that was. See, there's good people out there. Oh my gosh. Okay. I don't know what that was.
Probably $10,000 to $15,000. All right, I just talked to one of the food stand guys. He said his boss pays probably $10,000 to $15,000 a month to be here, and it costs $200 just to move this thing every day. We have over here, we have possibly some migrants here. They're definitely working illegally. They're not allowed to be in the park without a permit, and we're getting rumors that they're selling their food stamps to be able to make cash, which is against the law, of course, and buying allegedly homeless food stamps for 50 cents on the dollar, food cards, and they're not allowed to be working for 6 months. The government asked out of them to not work for 6 months for their political asylum. And the city is an absolute disaster right now. And people are getting beat and they're barely surviving. And people are saying and asking for Mayor Adams to be fired or to resign immediately.
Good morning, New York. Good morning, America. This is Jeffrey Braddock. Last night I was over at the Chandler Hotel, which is a migrant hotel, and I had a little altercation with some of the Muslim men that were staying there for free on the taxpayers' money. They were saying that they didn't want to be filmed and that I didn't have a right to do that. They were uninformed and they didn't know I had every right to film. And the NYPD came over and informed them that, yes, in America, we are allowed to film publicly. As they talked to the Muslim guys, they said that I asked them, well, aren't you here for freedom? And they said, no, we don't like your freedoms. We don't like seeing the men with the men. We don't like seeing all the drugs. And I said, well, why are you here? Why are you in America? They said they're here because they want to make money. Pure and simple, it's business. Mm-hmm. They don't respect the country. Mm-hmm. They don't respect Americans. They don't seem to even like either one of us. They don't like Americans, and they don't like this country. They're here strictly for business. There's a troubling thing going on in this country right now is we're bringing in people and we're treating them first class and we're putting them in hotels in Times Square that do not love this country and do not love Americans. Not only do they not love us, some of them hate our guns.
Mm-hmm.
This country, people, you're going to have to wake up.
Mm-hmm.
Our country is going down a very, very dark path with Joe Biden and the Democrats. The mayor, Eric Adams, is putting migrants in first-class hotels in the city. And our local homeless people are living in filth and rat-infested streets and rat-infested shelters. Eric Adams seems to have an agenda, a vendetta against the homeless. What's going on? Our veterans are sleeping in the street. We're treating people first class who don't love this country. They're just here, not all of them, but many of them are here just to take every ounce that they can take and give nothing back. A lot of people here are going to need to wake up as our country, like I said, is going down a very, very dark path. And like I told the Muslim men, who are very intelligent men, Joe Biden and the Democrats are giving you everything for free. We're treating you better than we treat our own poor people. Don't you believe that they're going to want something back from you? And they do believe that, yes, eventually they are going to want something back from them. What I worry about, what a lot of people worry about is if the government wants to use them against our citizens someday, would they do it? And the Muslim men said that that is a possibility, that they can see that nothing is for free in this world. So I'm going to tell you, a lot of you that think this is a big joke, Texas, I know you're getting pounded, and I'm sorry for that. This is not a joke. There's people here that are very bad people in this country that have done crimes in not only one country, but fled to another country and are fleeing from two nations, for very serious crimes that they've committed. You can imagine the most
I'm going to
serious
tell you in a
crimes
second.
that you can imagine. And I'm not getting my information from CNN and Fox. I'm getting my information from interviewing the migrants, and they're telling me.
Okay, so this guy, I'm going to type, he's on TikTok, okay? That's what I'm telling you. It's not all bad. So I'm going to tell you, I'm just going to type in. I think so. I think it's all related. And I'm going to tell you what I fear is that who does the Biden administration hate? They hate who do they hate? Americans, they hate people. They hate independent people. They hate small business owners. That's who they hate. Look at them. So they're importing a bunch of high testosterone men that have a disdain for America. That's not just the Muslim men. It's also the men from Guatemala. It's not all of them. I want to make that clear. It is not all of them, but there are a lot of them that come here. They have no respect for Americans. They actually have a disdain for American culture. Even some of the I'm telling you, the Hondurans, the Guatemalans, the Venezuelans, they have a disdain for American culture. They think we're lazy, and they have literally, I've watched them tell this guy, they're here to replace us. They will say that. I'm dead serious. It's not a joke. And all these dumb liberals that just have their heads in the sand need to wake up. And it's really scary, the amount of people that are coming over. And then what's the end game here? Exactly. What if all of a sudden one day our own government wants to use them against us? And I know that's getting in crazy land, but we're already in crazy land. Hi, Kelly. My internet is bad. Am I still lagging? I know, right? Anyway, I'm going to type his name in. If you're on TikTok, even if you just want to get on to maybe look at a few political things, because I will tell you, I'm actually impressed with what they allow on this app and the conversations that they allow to happen. Okay, it's all right now. They do. And guys, I'm dead serious. Like, think about all this. We have a low testosterone epidemic happening within our young men, our fighting age men too. Our young men between the ages of like 20 something and 40 something, there is an epidemic of low testosterone with those men. And we are importing a lot of high testosterone men that have a disdain for this country and our culture. And that's just the truth. That's not all of them. That's not saying that you should go around judging everyone, but there are some. So let me just, if you guys want to follow him, I'm going to put his name in, and then we'll move on from this topic, and we will go to JFK and Congress. This is really interesting. Let me get his name. Okay, so his name. It would help if I was actually typing in the thing. No, I think like the older men, and not all men that age are low T, but there is a problem with a lot of low T, and that's been a thing for a while. His name is, he's all caps. Okay, that's his name, you guys, on, oops, I spelled it wrong. Okay, I'm sorry. All right, I gotcha. I put an E where there should have been an A. Okay, that's him. If you have the app, if you want to go see. So what he does he's on the ground every single day in NYC, and he's interviewing the migrants every single day. So you're really going to get an insight into what's actually happening on the ground. The stuff the news is not going to tell you. All right, are you ready for some JFK? He gave just an amazing testimony today. It's 11 minutes long, so fat nicotine boosts testosterone. I've been hearing some interesting things about nicotine. That's interesting. I'll stop and pause. We won't watch the whole thing all the way through. Braddock, I thought he had 2 D's. Did I spell it wrong twice? Oh, you're right. I'm an idiot. I am blonde. Give me a break. It's been a long day. There it is. Okay, guys, this is officially correct, and I'm checking it right now. JEFFE. I just said it. Oh my god. JEFFREYBRADAC. Jeffrey Braddock. So the third time is a charm. Oh, exactly. Right. I'm not totally a fan of his, but I love what he said today in his testimony, and it is wild. And I would love to show you the contrast of what he said in his testimony and how they attacked him. I totally agree with you. I'm not like a JFK Jr. fan or RFK Jr. fan. I'm not by any means at all. But I do think it's fair to point out certain things, and I love what he said today in Washington. So, and this is just, it's so funny because this was a whole thing about censorship, and they were trying to censor him, and they're hearing about censorship. Boom.
Statement, and then we'll go right down the line.
Can you hear it okay? They're not loud yet. Hold on.
Excuse me, point of order. I know that witnesses usually have 5 minutes. I see 10 minutes on the board. Is it going to be 10 minutes?
We'll give him 5 minutes, but we're pretty lax with
That's the nasty lady. I don't like her.
this. We'll let him go for
We are?
yeah. And all kinds of stuff.
He's neither.
I'm saying in past history.
Okay, okay.
Kelly, I haven't seen you in so long.
Okay,
But
let's
we'll give
just
you-
watch the time for all the witnesses.
And if
then.
you want to cut him off and censor him some more, you're welcome to do it.
Oh, that's not my job. That's your job. Why don't you threaten a witness so that they can not want to be a
Mr.
witness?
Kennedy is recognized for his opening statement. We'll give him 5 minutes, more or less, and then we'll move to the next one. Mr.
I
Kennedy,
like this
go
better.
ahead.
It's this.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
It's the Placid lady. Her name is Placid. Something Placid. But I'm going to show you her specifically after this, so you'll get to see her. Oh yeah, she looks like a wet dog. I have her too. I have both the nasty ladies.
I mean, maybe we could put 5 minutes on the clock then, not 10.
Could we put 5 on the clock and we'll start it running?
Oh yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And I want to put aside my written statement for a moment and address one of the points that was brought up, I think an important point by the ranking member, that this body ought to be concerning itself with with issues that impact directly the American people. The rising price of groceries, 76% over the past 2 years for basic foodstuff, the war.
I know he's a bit hard to listen to. He says good things.
Ukraine, the inflation issues, the border issues, many other issues that concern us all as a nation. We can't do that without the First Amendment, without debate. When I gave my speech, my announcement speech in Boston 2 months ago, YouTube, I talked about all those issues.
You know what? I'm sorry. I don't mean to pause. It's a medical condition, I believe. Yeah, I think it is. I can't remember exactly what it is, but it's a medical condition. I was actually a little nervous to even show parts of this hearing with him because his stuff gets censored on YouTube so much. It is unbelievable. I've never seen a single person, maybe Alex Jones, get censored as much as him. And I was almost worried because I have such a little baby channel and I didn't want to get videos removed or like striked or anything. But here, he'll continue. Oh, thank you for writing that, Zombie.
I focused on grocery. I focused on the fact that working class people can no longer afford to live in this country.
I didn't know that.
I talked about inflation, all the issues that deeply concern you, and that you've devoted your career to alleviating those issues. 5 minutes into my speech, when I was talking about Paul Revere, YouTube deplatformed me. Mm-hmm. I didn't talk about vaccines in that speech. I didn't talk about anything that was a verboten subject. I just was talking about my campaign and things, the conversation that we ought to be having with each other as Americans. But I was shut down. And that is why the First Amendment's important. Debate, congenial, respectful debate is the fertilizer, it's the water, it's the sunlight for our democracy. We need to be talking to each other. Now, this is a letter that many of you signed, many of my fellow Democrats. I've spent my life in this, I've devoted my life to the values of this party. There's 102 people signed this. This itself is evidence of the problem that this hearing was convened to address. This is an attempt to censor a censorship hearing. The charges in this, and by the way, censorship is antithetical to our party. It was appalling to my father, my uncle, to FDR, to Harry Truman, to Thomas Jefferson, as the chairman referred to. It is the basis for democracy. It sets us apart from all of the previous forms of government. We need to be able to talk, and the First Amendment was not written for easy speech. It was written for the speech that nobody likes you for. And I was censored not just by the Democratic administration.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, you always think of the Democratic Party as being the pro-free speech party. Why would they? They're Democrats. They're liberal. You know what the definition of liberal is? The definition of liberal is being able to coexist with people that have different opinions than you. That's literally the definition of liberal. And they can't coexist with people that have different opinions than them.
I was censored by the Trump administration. I was the first person censored as the chairman pointed out, by the Biden administration 2 days after it came into office. It ordered a truthful, and by the way, they had to invent a new word called malinformation to censor people like me. There was no misinformation on my Instagram account. Everything I put on that account was cited and sourced to peer-reviewed publications or government databases. Nobody has ever pointed to a single piece of misinformation that I publish. I was removed for something they called malinformation.
Yeah, that's why so many people left the Democratic Party. Kelly said liberals are opposite of what they used to be. They totally are. I used to be a liberal. Excuse me. I used to be a liberal. Liberal. But they are the opposite. That's why they actually pushed so many liberals like myself to the Republican Party.
Malinformation is information that is true, but is inconvenient to the government, that they don't want people to hear. And that's antithetical to the values of our country. After I announced my presidency, it became more difficult for people to censor me outright. So now I'm subject to this new form of censorship, which is called targeted propaganda, where people apply pejoratives like anti-vax. I've never been anti-vaccine, but everybody in this room probably believes that I have been, because that's the prevailing narrative. Anti-Semitism, racism, these are the most appalling, disgusting pejoratives, and they're applied to me to silence me, because people don't want me to have that conversation about the war, about groceries, about inflation, about the middle class in this country that we need to be having. And by the way, I want to say this while I'm on the record, that in my entire life, and why I'm under oath, in my entire life, I have never uttered a phrase that was either racist or anti-Semitic. I have spent my life fighting, my professional career, fighting for Israel, for the protection of Israel. I have a better record on Israel than anybody in this chamber today. I'm the only person who has publicly objected to the $2 billion payout that the Biden administration is now making to Iran, which is a genocidal program. I'm the only one who's objected to that. I fought more ferociously for Israel than anybody. But I am being censored here through this target, through smears, through misinterpretations of what I've said, through lies, through association, which is a tactic that we all thought we had been discredited and dispensed with after the Army McCarthy hearings in the 1950s. But those same weapons are now being deployed against me to silence me.
Thank you so much, Kelly. Sorry, you guys, we'll get back to it in just a second. I haven't seen Kelly in a while either. I'm still in VA. Eva is outside sleeping. It's summertime, and she loves the deck. She's a lioness on the deck. Looks like a little lion. She's just lounging in the hot sun, so she might actually break through my door in a second. But she is. You guys want to see something? Here, we can do a little intermission, then we'll get back. That's a long one. I took her to the vet recently. We did a video. Sometimes I get a little self-conscious posting my Eva because I'm like, is everyone going to think I'm a cat lady? Behind every good woman is a cat that follows her to the bathroom. Where is my Eva? Oh, where is she? I took her to the vet. Where the heck? I don't know. Sorry. It's gone. I don't know. I took her to the vet recently and she didn't like it. But she's doing really good. I am still in Virginia. I'm going back to California in about 3 weeks. And I'm a little nervous. I'm a little anxious, to be honest with you. But yeah, I'm going back. And if Eva comes in, I will show her to you. Thank you so much, Zombie. I appreciate that very, very much. Crazy cat lady has 3 cats or more. I just have 1 cat. But, oh, they did at the vet, they told me that she was a little overweight. And they also told she's very healthy. She's a little overweight. And they said she has loose skin on her stomach. It's her myrtles. I call them her myrtles, but it's like her little pouch that hangs. She's had it her whole life. I don't know where. I cannot believe that. Here, I might be able to find it. She was so sad. She peed and she pooped in her carrier on the way to the vet. She peed in the car. In the car. It took days to get the smell out. She was so nervous. Oh, this is what she does outside. Oh, that's my family. That's my cat. She just does that outside all day, every day. And where's her vet video? Oh. There's the crazy girl. Y'all, I have so many videos on this phone. Oh, here she is.
Eva, you see your little face? How mad are you at me? Eva, look at me. Eva. Eva. Hi. Eva. Well, you can't get out, but...
She's so scared.
You don't know you're going to go to the vet. Eva, no. No. In your little thing. Eva.
Yeah, that was her on the way to the vet. She was terrified. And then, so we get to the vet. It was the nicest vet, but it was very busy. And it was it was at a PetSmart. And the reason I took her to the PetSmart is because her regular vet isn't in Virginia and they can get her in really quickly. And I wanted to get her in before I moved. So I just wanted to make sure she was updated on all her shots. She had her checkup before I moved. So this was the only place that could get her in. And they're very nice there. So they just it was the 4th of July when I brought her in. And they were overbooked that day. So I go to check in and she said, "You're here a little bit early, so just go ahead and sit down and then I'll call you up to get her paperwork done." Well, they forgot about us. And Eva is terrified. And we're sitting there in the waiting area for like 30 minutes. And she's getting freaked out. There's dogs all around. She doesn't know what to do. And finally, I had to go up to the desk and say, "Look, I don't mean to be rude, but we've been here for 30 minutes. My cat is freaking out over here. Can we get in?" Anyway, they apologized and got her in really quick. And then we left, but they forgot about us. So we had to wait there for 30 minutes and dogs are going by. And poor little Eva, you saw how scared she was on the way there. Just imagine being in this place with all the noise and the dogs. Whew, poor thing. She knew. She peed and she punished me. It's okay. She punished me on the way back. She peed in the car and the pee went through her cat carrier and went on the car seat. So she punished me. It's okay. Yeah. All right. Are we ready to get back? Okay. All right. Thank you guys. All right. Let's get back. He's almost done, I think. And then I'm going to show you the evil stepsisters, the evil ladies.
I know many of the people who wrote this letter. I don't believe there's a single person who signed this letter who believes I'm anti-Semitic. I do not believe that. There is no evidence of that. I want to say something.
3 days.
I think that's more important, and it goes directly to what you talked about, ranking member, which is the need, this toxic polarization that is destroying our country today. And how do we deal with that? This kind of division is more dangerous for our country than any time since the American Civil War. And how do we deal with that? How are we going to?
Okay, this is where it gets really good. This is where I really, really like what he's saying. And just watch what. So this is his first testimony. This is his beginning testimony. And then I'm going to show you this. And then watch how these awful ladies respond. It's like he said nothing. It's just like blank. And then they go into attack mode.
Every Democrat on this committee believes that we need to end that polarization. Do you think you can do that by censoring people? I'm telling you, you cannot. That only aggravates and amplifies the problem. We need to start being kind to each other. We need to start being respectful to each other. We need to start restoring the comedy to this chamber and to the rest of America, but it has to start here. Mm-hmm. My uncle, Edward Kennedy, has more legislation with his name on it than any senator in the United States.
It's Jim Jordan. It's Jim Jordan's committee. If we can remember the name of his committee, but it's Jim Jordan's committee. History.
Why is that? Because he was able to reach across the aisle. Because he didn't deal in insults. Because he didn't try.
And yes, they did take him out of context. I actually saw some of the interviews where he referenced what they're going to talk about later. They totally took him out of context. Totally. He was referencing studies.
To censor people. He brought home people who were antithetical to what he believed in. He came home almost every weekend with people like Orrin Hatch to our house at the compound in Hyannisport. At that time, Orrin Hatch to me was like Darth Vader, because I was an environmentalist. And I was saying, why is Teddy bringing this guy home? But he knew that he was effective because he understood that comedy and respect and kindness and compassion and empathy for other people is the way that the only way to restore the function in this chamber. But more importantly, today, we need to give an example in the leadership of our country of being respectful to each other. If you think I said something that's anti-Semitic, let's talk about the details. Mm-hmm. I'm telling you all the things that I'm accused of right now by you. And in this letter are distortions, they're misrepresentations. I didn't say those things. There's fragments that I said, but I denounce anybody who uses the words that I have said to imply something that is negative about people who are Jewish. I never said those things. And I want to point out also that the chairman pointed to Dennis Kucinich, who's fighting behind me. There is no two people in the country who feel more differently about American politics than these two people. And yet they were friends. Dennis attended his children's basketball games, attended his daughter's wedding. This is what we need, how we need to start treating each other in this country. We have to stop trying to destroy each other, to marginalize, to vilify, to gaslight each other. We have to find that place inside of ourselves of light, of empathy, of compassion, and above all, we need to elevate the Constitution of the United States, which was written for hard times. And that has to be.
All right. That was essentially his whole, I thought it was a great testimony. Again, I don't know if he's someone I would vote for, just like Kelly said. I don't know if I love him or I like a lot. Let me tell, I appreciate someone that shakes things up always. I love, just like I think of Vivek, I don't even know if I'm always saying his name correctly, Vivek Ramaswamy. I actually have 2 of his books, Woke Inc. and Nation of Victims. So I read 2 of his books. I'm obviously a fan of his. I don't necessarily want him to be the president. I don't necessarily think he would make a great president, but I like the fact that he's in the game, shaking things up, and I like his ideas, and I like that he's challenging things. The same is how I feel with RFK Jr. I don't think he's going to be the president, and I wouldn't vote for him. I like that he's in there. I like that he's shaking things up, and I'd prefer him over me. Like, exactly. Well, you know what I mean. Like, obviously, there's other people that I prefer. If I was a Democrat, I would probably be going this way. But I like that these guys are in there shaking things up, and I like their ideas. And I appreciate anyone that is willing to question and challenge the status quo. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, Vivek, super smart, but somehow, yeah, I don't totally trust him, but I like the fact that he's in there, he's shaking things up. And again, I have 2 of his books. They're incredible books, highly recommended. Okay, now let's go to the evil stepsisters. Okay, so this is the place.
Why would the Republican leader?
So just keep in mind, like, that was his opening testimony. This is how people work in Washington. It is, and it's not just this, they do this all the time. It's like it's so hyper partisan. It is unbelievable.
Why are we here? Why? Why would the Republican leadership and the committee majority give a hearing and a platform to the witnesses today, specifically to Mr. Kennedy, a man who has recently claimed that COVID-19 is targeted to attack Caucasians and Black people, and before that, in his film, Medical Racism, The New Apartheid, that film stated that COVID-19 vaccines do not work for Black children because of their, quote, kick-ass kind of immune system, that hyper, superhuman, subhuman kind of language.
Yeah, so they just go right into the attacks. That's not even the worst of it. Yeah. And I actually watched a few of the podcast where he was talking about these studies, and he was literally just citing studies and what the studies found. And Jim Jordan later says, or actually what they did, I didn't get this clip for you, but it's actually brilliant what they did. It was Thomas Massey, who right after she made this, I don't know if you can still hear me, my mic's far away. Right after she made this argument and went into these attacks, he was responding by saying, no, you're slandering me again. RFK Jr. was saying, you're slandering me again, and you can't do that. She kept cutting him off the whole time. And while she was doing this, Thomas Massey entered into evidence the very studies that RFK Jr. was referencing. So those very studies were entered after she attempted to slander him again. Okay, now this next clip is, so it starts with the wet dog lady. I can't remember her name, but she looks like, I went wrong. I didn't say that. You said that. What's fascinating is this is a whole hearing about censorship. You'll see all these Democrats essentially voting to censor RFK Jr. in the hearing about censorship.
Session because Mr. Kennedy is.
That's the lady. That's the other evil stepsister.
Which Mr. Kennedy is violative of. I move that we remove into executive session because Mr. Kennedy has repeatedly made despicable anti-Semitic and anti-Asian comments as recently as last week. Rule 11, Clause 2 says, whenever it is asserted by a member of the committee that the evidence or testimony at a hearing may tend to defame, degrade, or incriminate.
She needs to cover her gray roots. What? Who said that?
Any person, or it is asserted by a witness that the evidence or testimony that the witness would give at a hearing may tend to defame, degrade, or incriminate the witness, and it goes on. Mr. Kennedy, among many other things, has said, I know a lot now about bioweapons. We put out hundreds of millions of dollars into ethnically targeted microbes. The Chinese have done the same thing. In fact, COVID-19, there is an argument that it is ethnically targeted COVID-19 attacks certain races disproportionately. The races that are most immune to COVID-19 are...
Lady making a motion or a speech?
I've made a motion to move into executive session because Mr. Kennedy's testimony...
Mr. Chairman, I
and
move
his
to table the
previous
motion.
statements-
Gentleman
She always looks like she just got out of the shower.
from Kentucky has moved to table.
Mr. Chairman, I ask for a roll call vote on the motion to table.
Well, let me ask the question. The question is on the motion to table. The gentlelady has asked for a roll call vote. The clerk will have to step back for a second. The clerk will have to come in. We'll call the roll on the motion to table, and then we can get back to testimony.
I think the witnesses can sit in the chairs sitting behind.
I'll leave that up to the clerks. If the clerks are comfortable with that, yeah, why don't we do that? Maybe we can go right down here.
Mr. Chairman, point of order.
Gentleman from Louisiana.
Is it the custom of this committee to censor viewpoints that we disagree with from witnesses?
Mr. Chairman, I have
That's not a point of order.
a motion on the table.
There's a motion and the vote's been
Move
called.
into executive
House
session.
rules.
We're waiting for the clerks.
Is violative of Rule 11, Clause 2.
Waiting for the clerks. Clerk will call the roll.
Mr. Jordan.
Yes.
Mr. Jordan votes yes. Mr. Issa. Mr. Massey.
Yes, to not censor.
Mr. Massey votes yes. Mr. Stewart. Yes. Mr. Stewart votes yes. Ms. Stefanik.
Yes.
Ms. Stefanik votes yes. Mr. Gates. Mr. Johnson of Louisiana.
Yes.
Mr. Johnson of Louisiana votes yes. Mr. Armstrong.
Yes.
Mr. Armstrong votes yes. Mr. Stubbe. Mr. Bishop.
Yes.
Mr. Bishop votes yes. Ms. Kamak.
Yes.
Ms. Kamak votes yes. Ms. Hageman. Yes. Ms. Hageman votes yes. Ms. Pasquette.
No, I want to follow the rules that the Republicans made at the beginning of this conference with these House rules, so no.
Ms. Pasquette votes no. Mr. Lynch. No. Mr. Lynch votes no. Ms. Sanchez.
No, because it's violative of the rules.
Ms. Sanchez votes no. Ms. Wasserman Schultz.
No to allowing a witness to degrade and
This is not
defame
speech
others
time.
and violate the rules and not have his testimony and degradation and amplified
Mr. Chair.
rather than given in executive session.
Ms. Wasserman Schultz votes no. Mr. Connolly.
No to the Soviet Politburo.
Mr. Connolly votes no. Mr. Garamendi.
No.
Mr. Garamendi votes no. Mr. Allred. Ms. Garcia.
No.
Ms. Garcia votes no. Mr. Goldman.
No to hate speech.
Mr. Goldman votes no.
Jeez.
Mr. Gates. Yes.
Mr. Gates. Aye. Mr. Gates votes aye.
Clerk will report.
It's so funny. It's so funny to they're so telling, these hearings. No to hate speech. What exactly is hate speech, sir? Speech I don't like. How dare you? Yeah, it's fascinating to watch an individual, whether you like RFK Jr. or not. That was a pretty heartfelt testimony, I think. And I've seen this happen time and time again. The most frustrating hearings that I've seen this happen on are the hearings about border security, when you're listening to parents of children that have died either of fentanyl or maybe have been killed by an illegal immigrant. When what's really frustrating is when you hear these parents give these heartfelt, tear-felt testimonies, and you'll see the Democrats just go right back into the Democratic talking points and just disregard everything that these people said. Like, it's just wild to watch in real time. Yeah, Kelly, any point of view that's different than theirs is hate speech. Absolutely. And it's so, again, the hearings are telling. And you can see it. You can see like the visceral anger coming out. And it's like, who's controlling you? Yet hate speech is any speech they don't like and invariably involves facts. Yeah. Screw the studies. Yeah. Well, there's that. All right, you guys, I thought that I would kind of end with something a little bit different. Uh, I wrote on my my thumbnail of the video. So that was essentially the hearing. Oh, Glenn Allen asked, "What do I think of Jason Aldean's song being canceled?" What else did you ask? You said something else. Jason Aldean. Oh, it's so silly. You know what? I'm from. Okay, so if you don't know, Jason Aldean, country music star, he wrote a song called not is it not in a small town? Never in a small town. Actually a really good song. I highly recommend it. A good country song. Never in a small town, not you wouldn't try that in a small, you know what I'm saying. So he came out with this song and it was essentially about the summer of love. the 2020 riots and just saying that wouldn't happen in a small town. And you know what's funny? I live in a small town right now. I live in rural Virginia right now. That's where I've been for the past few years. It would absolutely not happen here. And there's no way. And they wouldn't try it in a small. Is that what it's called? They wouldn't try it in a small town. I just figured it out. They wouldn't try it here. They try it in cities because there's a bunch of sissies that live downtown, like a metropolitan boys. Do you remember that term back in the day, metrosexual? So, anywho, so he filmed the video for that song, and there was a lot of footage from the riots, and then they filmed it in front of a courthouse in Macon, Georgia. I'm from Georgia. I'm very familiar with Macon, Georgia, and apparently this was the site of maybe a lynching, which, okay, let me just tell you something. Right now, I am sitting on a Civil War battlefield in Virginia. There is not a plot of land in the South that does not have some sort of crazy history on it. Okay. The battle that fought where I am right now, 7,000 men died within 20 minutes of this battle. Like the South is just riddled with history. It just is. And so they're saying that there are, dog whistles in the video, and that's one of the reasons why. Even though Lizzie McGuire, a Disney movie, was filmed there, a lot of things have been filmed there. It just happens to be a very attractive place to film. And I believe Jason Aldean is from Macon, so it makes sense. But anyway, they were trying to use that to slander him. CMT got the video taken off. They took the music off the radio. Well, long story short, this song is #1 on the iTunes chart, not just country music iTunes, all iTunes. You were born in Chatsworth, GA? I didn't know that. I was born, well, I wasn't small town. I was the suburbs of Atlanta. I was born at DeKalb General. So I was born in Decatur, Georgia, and I went K through 12. I grew up in Gwinnett County, Georgia. So it's actually really funny. I went to Gwinnett County Public Schools. And my school district, when I went there, was incredible. It was an amazing school district. Well, now things have changed. My school district has made it on Libs of TikTok several times. Just so you know. Yeah, boycott CMT. Yeah, screw them. Like, go buy the song. If you have a dollar something to spare, go and support it. Go buy the song. Keep it at #1. Show them that they're dum-dums. How about that? Anyway, if you guys wanted to end on something just a little bit different, we used to really like scary stories on here. So you see this building behind me? Okay, this is our closing thing. I'm just going to tell you kind of a personal story, but it goes into history. Yep, Ryan Upchurch said, screw the CMTs a couple years ago. Now I know why. Yeah. Oh, Disney can only afford one dwarf now. They're just doing it to themselves. And Disney lost $900 million on their last 8 releases. And I have a feeling that trend is going to continue with Snow White and the 7 diversity people. And they also took jobs away from actual dwarves that don't get a lot of opportunities at roles. So they can go somewhere. That's embarrassing. The whole thing is embarrassing. They shouldn't have done it. And also just make something new. Why do you they keep making live action remakes? Do something new, do something different. And it's like, if you want to be all diversity and inclusive, just make something new and hire new people. Stop trying to redo these characters. Hi ho, it's out of work. We go. All right, so I'm going to close on something a little crazy. Okay, so you see this building behind me? That building it's currently still up. It's in Stanton, Virginia. It used to be called the DeJarnette Center. I actually worked at the updated facility. So I worked at a place called the Commonwealth Center for Children and Adolescents in Virginia a long time ago, way before I moved to LA, way before all that stuff. And it was the newer version of that building that you're seeing right there. Obviously, that building is very old. It still stands in Stanton, Virginia. It's abandoned and it's filled with asbestos, so you probably don't want to go in there. But it is it's a state-run acute care psychiatric hospital for kids. Okay, so the reason they changed the name is because the name DeJarnette was a bit tainted. And Dr. DeJarnette was a main proponent and practitioner of eugenics back in the day. So you'll sometimes hear Republicans talking about this, or historians. Planned Parenthood, Margaret Sanger, she liked eugenics. And Dr. DeJarnette liked eugenics. There's all kinds of different types of eugenics. So essentially what they would do is they wanted to get the perfect human race. They wanted to eliminate the feeble-minded, all of that. So when they would get kids that would come into this facility, the DeJarnette Center, they would sterilize them, whether they knew it or not. And that was eugenics. That was basically trying to clean out the race. And Dr. DeJarnette was a proponent of this. And a lot of people don't know this, but Hitler actually got a lot of ideas from the United States of America on eugenics. And Dr. DeJarnette, hold on, let me find this quote. They do need to reopen the psych hospitals, not bring back this practice, but reopen them. And I interned at one for adults. I worked at one for kids. And I can tell you a lot of people need this. You get a clean bed. You get 3 healthy meals, healthy snacks. You get a psychiatrist, a psychologist, a caseworker, a social worker. You get nurses. You get direct care staff. You get a clean bed. You get clean clothes. You get stress management groups. You get daily living skills groups, symptom management groups, like all kinds of stuff. I don't understand. It's almost like people have these archaic, like one flew over the cuckoo's nest view of psych hospitals, and they just think all of them are bad, but that is absolutely not the case. Obviously, a hospital like this has a horrible history, and some of them do, but that is just not the reality of modern hospitals. Okay, so Dr. DeJarnette, when Hitler, Dr. DeJarnette, this guy, when Hitler was in charge, Dr. DeJarnette, and if you want to do this yourself, if you're interested, if you're bored tonight, you can go on Wikipedia, look up Dr. Joseph DeJarnette, look on his Wikipedia page, and you will see this quote where he said, Germany is beating us at our own game. They are way more progressive than we are. He said that about Hitler and what he was doing in Germany. And I also want to make that point too. He used the term progressive, and you will see that term on the Wikipedia if you so care to look at that. And I want to make that point for a reason. Just because something is labeled progressive does not mean it's good. Just like that was labeled progressive. All of these people back in the day that were doing this practice, that were practitioners of this, that believed in this, they all thought that they were the progressives. So I just want to leave you with that. It's just food for thought. It's a really interesting history. And it's funny because I worked at the modern hospital of that. And it was a history that we all knew about. And was very alive, and we knew it because we worked at the Commonwealth Center for Children and Adolescents, which it's called today, but it used to be the DeJarnette Center, and that was something that we were just all very aware of. But Most people don't know that our country has that history. Most thing progressive these days are not good. Yeah. And that's what I think people that are progressive, that's what they think of themselves. They think of themselves as better than everyone else. They think of themselves as ahead of everyone else, as knowing something that everyone else doesn't know. And they're the progressives. But Kelly is absolutely right. It's not a good thing. And especially today, it's not a good thing, but it's not always a good thing. And it was the same as Hitler. He saw himself as a progressive. It's a really fascinating history, and it goes so much deeper. But that's just I just thought that would be a fun little thing to share with you guys. Yeah. So, and that creepy building is still there in Stanton, Virginia today, but it has asbestos, so you don't want to go in it. Sometimes old school works best. Yeah. All right, you all. Well, I think I'm going to head off. Thank you so much for joining. That was a lot of fun. It's fun doing the lives again, and I'll be back very soon. I know. Well, on Halloween, some people do go inside of it. Like, I know people that have gone in that building. I just won't because it has asbestos. I'm not trying to, I don't know what, I don't know. But yeah, people go in it. For sure. And you can look up the Desjardins Center and you can see the pictures of it. You can actually probably find YouTube videos where people went in it. Okay. Thank you so much, you all. That was a lot of fun. I appreciate everyone for joining, and it was nice to see some of the old faces again. I will announce again if I'm going to be live on my community notes, and I'll give like notice so that everyone knows. The only thing the left changes is what they call themselves. Yeah. Thank you so much, Kelly. Oh, that was so sweet. Thank you very much. Great story, sweetie. Have a great night. Okay, thank you, Kelly. I appreciate it. Love you guys. Have a great night, and hopefully we'll see each other soon. Again, I'll announce on my community notes, and then I'll put up a thumbnail, hopefully more in advance next time that I'm live, just so people have. And then I'll try to hopefully maybe get on a schedule eventually. Thank you very much, Kelly. All right, y'all have a great night. I'll see you later. Bye. I always like to wait for a second because I like to wait for people to say bye to each other. Okay, bye, you all.